Well, hello all you fish geeks. It's Dan from dansfish.com, your friendly fishmonger. And today I'm finally going to patch up and reseal a couple 75-gallon aquariums. When I drilled them, I cracked them. So it's been about a year since I did that, a little less than a year. So it's about time, don't you think? So let's get that project going. So let's head over. These are the two aquariums in question, and as you can see here, this sucker, when I drilled it, it split this way and that way. So I've got a crack going to the top and to the bottom. So what I have to do on this tank is strip out all the silicone and reseal the entire inside and put a patch over this while that's happening. I can't just put a patch on it because of this crack right here on the bottom, which goes to this silicone. I have to take that all off, put a patch on, and completely fresh silicone around the entire tank because old silicone won't cure properly to new silicone. So I can't put new silicone on top of old silicone and have it be watertight. Now on this tank over here, it's going to be a lot easier. This has a crack, but it only goes up here. So I can put a patch over this, no problem, because I don't have to worry about the line going down here. It would leak down here if I had a line going down here, but this goes all the way up to the top, so I can put a patch on here and silicone that all up and seal it up pretty good up there, and I probably won't get a leak. If I do, it'll just be a minor little bit back here, but I can seal around the outside of this rim as well to prevent any leaks from happening there. So this one is a piece of cake. So here's the plan. I'm going to use acrylic patches, and I'm going to use this stuff. I've never done this before, but my friend Pistol Abbott, who does all kinds of DIY aquarium stuff, has used this stuff, and he said it works really well. So it's GE, it's 100% silicone sealant, but this is formulated for plastic. It also adheres really well. I read about it, and Pistol told me from his experience. It adheres to glass and metal really well as well. So I'm going to silicone a patch on. Let me show you the plan. So I've got a few of these patches, and I'm just going to strip everything off, put these over the problem spot, silicone that in, and reseal the entire inside of the tank, and then drill this hole through this acrylic. Or I'll probably drill the hole, I might drill the hole before I put it on there, I'm not quite sure. But that hole doesn't scare me. I can drill that with almost any hole saw. Acrylic's pretty simple to drill. So that's the plan. And then over here on the other tank, this one here, I'll just put this in and I won't reseal the entire tank. I'm just going to take this sucker, silicone it like this, and stick it on. And because it's on the inside, the water pressure is going to keep pushing this against the glass, so the pressure is forcing towards the outside of the tank, so it's not going to blow off. I wouldn't want to put it on the outside of the tank because then the water pressure is going to be pushing this piece back constantly. But having it inside, I make the water pressure work for me to keep that seal nice and tight. So that's the plan. For those that have never stripped an aquarium of its sealant before, I have stripped most of this, but I left that back and side seam so that I could do it with you watching, so that I could show you how to do it. I remember the first time I stripped an aquarium of the silicone, it was nerve-wracking because I didn't have anyone to show me how to do it. So hopefully this can help out anyone. As you can see, I've already stripped this off. There's no black. This is black silicone in this tank. I'm not going to put black silicone back in it just because I'm going to use the stuff I always use. I don't really care if it matches. But this has already been stripped out. Down here, see all this that I've stripped out plus a bunch more? This line has not been stripped out. Now one thing to keep in mind is the glass plate on the bottom goes all the way to the edge. So you want to be, if you can, careful and go down first and hit that edge nice and hard. And then when you cut this way, you're going to be cutting into the seam between the bottom plate of glass and the side plate, which abuts the bottom plate. You don't want to strip, you want to take this piece out, but you don't want to dig into the crease here and strip the silicone out that's actually holding the glass together in there, in that seam. So, because then it'll lose some strength. So what I do is I just take this little bugger here, got it from Home Depot, works really well. I think it's like $6, $5, something like that. And I start at the top and I just go down. So I'm working this down like this. Make sure I'm not blocking you here. Okay, good. So I'm just working it down until I abut that bottom plate. And I can push down. The reason I start this way is I can push down as hard as I want, because I'm not going to split the seam, because the seam is going the other way. Okay, so I'm just going to get that in there, just shove it down and get it across. Okay, I'm pretty confident that's done. Now I'm going to go this way, and I have to be careful not to go too far to not damage that seam. So I can go a little slower, a little carefuler, a little more carefully, I guess. Is carefuler a word? It is now. Okay. Get over the rim here. Okay, so I'm just gonna slide that in there and kind of lifting up as I do it so I can feel the point at which I've popped it. The point at which the seal has been kind of broken. And we're getting there. I don't want to go too far. There we go. So starting to come up. Got to hit here a little harder. And by the way, these blades are super cheap. So buy yourself a big pack of these blades. So anytime one gets dull, you can change it out. It'll go so much quicker and easier for you if you do that. So anyway, now I should be able to just lift this up and pull it right off. Okay, that section is pretty much done. A little more here. Try not to split the seam too bad. By the way, this isn't like something I do a ton. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I've probably resealed, I don't know, a couple dozen tanks in my time. In this fish room alone, I think I've resealed like 8. So those 30-gallon breeders I got were super old and in really bad shape when I got them, so I resealed a lot of those. But anyway, if you see that main bit is gone. So now I just need to work around and do the rest of this. So that's what I'm going to do. Then after that, I'm going to come and really get this fine stuff that's left out. You don't want any silicone left there at all, because it won't seal. But you can get it pretty darn good with the razor blade. And then you can go over that with rubbing alcohol, or at Home Depot they sell an actual solvent that dissolves silicone. I've never used it because I'm afraid it'll get in the seams and weaken the seams. But I just scrape it really well, clean it down with nail polish remover or rubbing alcohol, that kind of thing. And you can feel if there's any residual silicone or not. So in this spot I just scraped clean, this little spot right here, I can feel it's pretty darn clean. But anyway, that's kind of the technique for stripping silicone. So I'm going to continue stripping this sucker out, and then I'll show you how to reseal it, how the patch goes. Alright, so it's the next morning. I resealed this aquarium completely all around the inside last night, and then I added this patch plate here. It's an acrylic plate, and I put it on with I showed it to you last night, I think, but it's this stuff. Silicone for plastic sheets and other plastics. It's also, it says, really good for glass and metal. So all these inside seams are the normal General Electric's Silicone 100% silicone, dries clear. I really cake it on there because I'm really worried about leaks. So I wasn't going for pretty, I was going for sturdy. Except for this seam right here and all this action in here with this plate. This is all the silicone for plastics. So it's a little different. It doesn't feel too different though. And pretty dry. There's a couple spots where it's still a little damp in there, I can tell. I hope the two silicones fused together well. I'm going to give it at least another day before I put any water in it and test it out. But again, as you can see, it's thick in there. I was going for sturdy, not for pretty. And then this one over here, I kind of did the same thing, except for this only had the crack going vertically, so I didn't have to reseal the entire tank. I just put a patch here and stuck it in with the plastic silicone, along with the seal across the top, both on this tank and the other tank. This is all sealed. There's a line on the top of this patch piece as well. So I will drill a hole in this plastic patch piece so I can put my bulkhead right here and hope that that works and I don't get any leaks. So I think what I'm going to do now is paint these suckers while I'm waiting for the silicone to dry one more day, and then I should be ready to test them out, see if they hold water, see if this worked. So hopefully if it did, then I've got 2 more 75-gallon tanks that I can get up and running, and a couple afternoons work and a few bucks of silicone and a little bit of acrylic plate, and I'll be able to get a couple aquariums going. So that's my hope, but we'll see. I'll paint them, paint the sides, the back and the bottom black. I use oil paint for that, and as flat as I can find it, not glossy, flat. Otherwise you get a lot of light reflection, which I don't like for pictures and cameras and all that. Anyway, we'll see what happens when we fill them up. Stay tuned. Okay, so here's the final product. It's been a few weeks since I repaired these, and they're doing fine. I've had fish in here for a couple weeks. I think 5 days after I sealed them, I put fish in here. I started out with, I don't know, a dozen clown barbs or so, and they're all doing well. They're alive, they're doing fine, so this stuff must not be too toxic. And there's the plate. It's ugly, but it holds water. So look at this horrible silicone job I did. Again, I just glopped it on. I wasn't going for a show tank. I was going for a functional warehouse tank. But that acrylic plate adhered just perfectly with this plastic silicone product. So it's good to know about that. I'll be keeping that in mind for the future. And since the plate's on the inside, it kind of pushes against the silicone and it reinforces the seal. So haven't had any leaks, and it's been a few weeks, couple weeks, and so I would call this a success. Here's the next tank that I did. This one was easier. It only had a crack up to the top from the hole, but same thing, doing just fine. Have some clown barbs in here just to, you know, cycle the sucker and make sure that nothing's toxic. It's hard to kill a clown barb, so they're a great fish for that. And yeah, anyway, that is done. So I guess the moral of the story is your tank might not be as finished as you thought it was if it cracks. You might be able to repair it. The next sucker, the ultimate challenge will be this. Let me show you. This sucker here. So this is a 75-gallon tank, and check that out. Goof. A forklift went into there and just destroyed it. So I don't know, I'm not in any rush to do it, but one day I will tear that out, tear out all the silicone, see if I can get a local glass shop to cut me the right piece of glass, and maybe we'll try to put it in and see what happens. That'll be quite an adventure. But anyway, yeah, it was a success. They're all repaired. And so a year later, I waited a year. I was just so sick of building stands and working on tanks and stuff that after building this fish room, that I just took a year and finally repaired them. So might be another year before I get to this doozy, but we'll get to it eventually. All right, I hope you like that. Have a good day. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below and we can geek out together. All right, bye.